Alrighty, we are back, and today we are going to be talking about some EZAs that we could potentially be seeing during the rest of this Transcendent Dokkan campaign. Now, overall, before we get started, let me know down below how you guys have been feeling about this campaign so far. Has it been fun? Has it been mid for you? How have your summons went? All of those fun things in the comment section below. And thank you guys, as always, for 30,000 subs. I think it's been a little over a week now, and I'm thinking if you're watching this video on Thursday that I will be doing a stream this weekend. It's been too long since I've live streamed. I think the last stream was for 30K or for my summons for Broly. Whichever one that was first, very fun time. If you want to see how the summons went, you can go ahead and check that out over there. But self-plugs out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with today's video. And like I said, the target of today's video is to discuss who I think could potentially get their EZA during this campaign. Now, specifically, I think there are two categories that we need to be focusing on. And the big question, I guess, would really be, will somebody else even get an EZA during the celebration, right? Looking at how things have went, I think we've seen a lot of what the game wanted in terms of EZAs and stuff like that. Movie Heroes hasn't really been touched aside from this right here with Golden Frieza and Gogeta as well. So on the EZA side of things, we have not seen much of, EZAs and stuff like that for the Movie Heroes category. So potentially, I think maybe what the play would be if I were in Dokkan's shoes at this point would be maybe you just hold off on doing an EZA for Movie Heroes characters and potentially have that be focused at another time. I think that might not be the worst case of action just based on how things have sort of went this last year. Sometimes it's tough, right, with just sort of how you want to do things. But with the Movie Heroes category, I think if we are going to be looking at potential buffs for it, I think it comes down to a very specific window for this game. And that is really going to land right in between here. And then it could also extend to over here. So the four main characters that I think have potential for EZAs are right here for the Movie Hero side of things. And that is going to be the Super Saiyan Goku here from the Cooler movie. And then if we look at the other one, we have the ROF Blues. Now, to me, I think the more interesting one right now would be the ROF Blues as they came out a little bit sooner, but the more hype one would be the Super Saiyan Goku right here. Now, let's start with Super Saiyan Goku just because I have the tabs open this way. When it comes to like what I think this EZA could potentially be, it would really just need to fulfill their role as like a character that has access to a revive, and they don't make that revive too hard to obtain, right? Sometimes like they like to get freaky with these revivals and it takes too long to get it, or they have like a godly kit behind a revival, but that revival in turn is also extremely, extremely hard to get. So when you have a shade of one of these things, it's tough to sort of blend it with the other. And I think that we saw that especially with somebody like AGL UI Goku as well as in Evolution Blue Vegeta. I think that would probably be my two best examples, where AGL UI Goku had an extremely easy revival to get, and then in Evolution Blue Vegeta's was a little bit trickier. So which character ended up aging better? I'm sure you guys know the answer to that question. I don't need to say it. So that would probably end up being the case here. If his revival was really, really hard to get, then we could potentially be in trouble. But the good thing about this revival condition is it is very, very similar to what we have with UI Goku's, where it is not difficult to obtain this revival, right? We look right here. When the character or an ally attack in the same turn at 59% or less, extremely, extremely similar to what we saw for AGL UI Goku. So that is a good sign, right? This EZA has some high potential. The revival won't be too hard to get, thankfully. And then hopefully, after we look at that, we should be good to go. So just keep that in mind. I think that would probably be the case here for this unit as well, that the revival will not be hard to get, and then they are going to be able to fulfill their role as a defensive character on the team and their ability to stack. So if they want to go down the line of like, this is a reviving character, and then they also have a nice little effect here we'll be talking about here in a little bit, this character has a ton of potential for the Festival of Battles. And where I think this character even transcends that utility in the Festival of Battles is going to be that ability to have the revival. The problem with this revival, specifically in the festival, is the fact that you really are going to be struggling to be getting under 59% HP, because a lot of the attacks in that mode, specifically, it does just kind of feel like a mode where it's like you go from 100% HP to 0% HP, right? There's not really like a window where you're taking a lot of damage from normals and stuff like that. So that is something to keep in mind, specifically with this unit, where things could get a little dicey, but we'll have to wait and see. I think that if he were to EZA, it would be very good. And again, with this ability to stack defense here on the 18 key, hopefully he would stack his attack and defense on both of those with an EZA, and then we'd be really looking down the barrel of one of the better characters in the game. I think this is probably the most interesting of the bunch in terms of like the way that he fits on teams and stuff like that. You look at his link set, Golden Warrior, Saiyan Warrior Race. You look at who he's linking up with. You got the Blue Boys right here, Tech Gogeta, some decent characters, right? The Super Saiyan Trio, this Gohan, Tech Vegito. This is like your classic cut and dry, really, really good Super Saiyan based link set that really every Super Saiyan LR in the game can benefit from. So I think his EZA would probably be the most interesting out of this bunch. But let's go ahead and move on. I think there's one more that may be more interesting, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. And he's right there. The Int Blues, right? Not much going on here, right? This character came out at a different time. Just additional supers, right? And then you get extra buffs with doing attacks and stuff like that. Then we have an exchange into our boy Vegeta, and that is where things I think do get a little bit interesting. They become an orb changer, right? They have crit chance. This guy, these two especially have like a really good chance to be special because of the fact that so much of their kit is relying upon like mechanics that like won't really make it. Like they have a very fresh slate, right? Like the STR Broly Super EZA was an extremely fresh slate. Sometimes with these LRs, that's not really the case, but with this guy right here, they're a Rainbow Orb Changer, and they could get some crazy buffs with their Rainbow Orb Changing. And then maybe if they were to become a stacker of sorts or something like that, there really could be some huge potential for this character. The link set, not as good, right? Super God Combat and Resurrection F are not exactly what I would call super ideal links, because if we go to Super God Combat, not good. This is literally the ROF link, and then this is literally the ROF link. So not good right here. Those are L links, right? But potentially, I guess if you could link this guy up with somebody else, you could potentially see some good stuff from them, right? Like if you were to link up the Exchange Goku with the Exchange Vegeta, maybe that ends up being like a good pairing, and we could see some potential from that, I suppose. But overall, I'm not really too sure how I'm going to be feeling about this one. But this EZA definitely has some potential to be interesting, and I think it is actually kind of likely, right? On JP, they came out at the end of May 2022, so we are 3 years and some change. Definitely could use a buff for this character at this point. At this point in the game for sure, because of the fact that it has just been so long since they've gotten really anything, right? This is a long overdue EZA that a lot of people have been waiting for sure. So hopefully when they do end up getting it, it will be very good, and I think it is possible that we end up getting this. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the ones that I think are a little bit less likely, and that is going to be the superhero EZAs, right, for LRB or Ultimate Gohan and LR Orange Piccolo. These two, very cut and dry, right? You know, we've talked about it before. This guy just really, I think, needs to keep his guard and make getting key a lot easier. Those are going to be my two main focuses. Don't really need to get rid of the guard after 3 turns, in my opinion. I think it's a bit excessive to limit the unit just to that, right? I think it's, at this point, we can move along from that. You get extra stuff for super attack performed and stuff. You know, your attacks are going to be really high. Hopefully, the Beast Special Beam Cannon ends up being a little bit harder hitting of an attack. I think that could certainly make this unit a lot better in terms of like what that active skill is going to be. I want to think about that active skill like I think about the year 7s ones, where you want to hold on to it, especially in a stacking event. So that is one of the hardest hitting attacks in the game, and you know, you're going to be able to do something with it. So that's really what I'm hoping for from this EZA. And then the last unit on the movie hero side of things is going to be our boy Power Awakened Piccolo right here. You've heard me talk about this one. This guy just has so much freaking potential in terms of what he is able to do. And the ability to take away supers, he has it. The ability to take away AoEs, he has it. The ability to heal, he has it. He has damage reduction. There are just so many good things that this unit is doing, to the point where I'm feeling like really good about where this character could potentially be with an EZA. Would definitely be one of the best units in the game. So hopefully he has that. Hopefully the damage reduction is a little bit higher. This baseline, I think this would need to be like a 50% baseline, and then you would have this that would move it up to like 80. You would have like permanent guard rather than 3 turns. I think that you really could get a lot out of this EZA. So when it comes to the movie hero side of things, those are probably the most interesting ones that I could think of. If you want to talk about ones, I guess that we could also see in theory, it would be like this cooler movie, Metal Cooler movie, Goku and Vegeta, but I don't know. I really don't see that happening, but I'm obligated, if we are going to talk about that, to go over to the movie bosses side of things and talk about one more unit before we get up on out of here. So if we go over to the movie bosses category and we look at it right here, this guy could potentially get an EZA. And then if we go to page 2 here, really, I think it would just be like the physical Metal Cooler unit would be like my other candidate here for one. And then I think it's a little too early to be talking about a super EZA for this guy. Maybe, just maybe, they do a super EZA for this Frieza right here. I suppose suppose that could happen. He is a movie boss. This metal cooler, really, his role is just going to come down to being a little bit better in terms of having the ability to deal with revivals a little bit better, right? Or to get his revival a little bit easier. I think that's been one of the problems with the character, is not even that he needs to get it easier. It's the fact that he needs to get a more specific setup, right? When we look at this character, the problem to me is that he just doesn't do enough other than reviving. He's literally just a one trick. He just revives and that's it. So we need characters that are going to do more than that, right? Maybe post revival, he is just like the best unit in the game, or before, maybe like he's invincible on the first turn and he just nullifies like everything you toss at him. I suppose that could work as well. So just keep that in mind. I think this EZA is a lot less likely. Same thing with the cooler movie Goku and Vegeta. But last but not least, STR cooler. I think this EZA has potential to be like an absolute beast of an offensive unit. We have a lot of defensive support right now in the form of a lot of different units, right? Especially, would this guy fit on the Omega Shenron team? I don't think so. Let me just triple check on that. So if we go over to the old Omega Shenron, where we go Shadow Dragon Saga, right? And then we look at Omega Shenron right here. We need Inhuman Deeds, Power Absorption, or GT bosses. Yeah, he doesn't fit on any of these unless he's on Inhuman Deeds, which he is not. So he would not fit on the Omega Shenron team, so that would be a bit of a problem for this cooler, but you guys know how it goes. So that is my answer right now for who could potentially EZA during the rest of this Global Dokkan, or not Global Dokkan campaign, the Transcendent Dokkan campaign, excuse me. We got to call it by its proper name. And that is it. So let me know down below what you guys think. Big shouts outs to all my members over on the YouTube side of things. They make this content possible. I appreciate all of you. But if you just watch the videos and you like and subscribe, I also appreciate that as well. It all goes a very long way. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you were new. And I'll see you all in the next one.